crowd are on their feet now. This has to be one of the best performances we've seen of the year. Only in the dying minutes will we ever see anything as great as this ever again. Oh, and it's a goal!
Okay, we're here, episode 20 of Nick's World of Football podcast, and I'm delighted to introduce Ander Mirambell. So Ander is a four-time Olympian and two-time World Cup champion in the wonderful sport of skeleton. So he will explain all that in a second. But I wanted to say welcome, Ander. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you, Nick. My pleasure. I think we are a little bit far away, but we have a lot of common, and I think it will be a really nice chat.
Yes, and I guess the common theme here is that we both support the same team, Real Club Deportivo Espanyol de Barcelona, or for the English-speaking world, RCD Espanyol. So I'd love to kick off with some quick questions on your Perico background. Were you always a Perico?
Yes, I has been a member from Espanyol as I think 2-3 years old. I think already now going to 40 season as a member from the team. So yeah, has been a long tradition at home. At the stadium we have a season pass, and I think we are how many members? I think we are 8 Mirambell members who have a season pass, so we all sit together. So it's really a tradition. Yeah, for me, Espanyol was always a special thing, and I was always looking for the weekends to go to Sarrià, to go to Montjuïc, and to go to Cornellà Prat. So I had a lot of memories with Espanyol, and also when I was young, under 16, I was I was pre-selected to be part of the B team from under 16 from Espanyol. I was selected for 1 month and a half, and I did one game, and I was there in the team, but I was not good enough. So finally, I decided to move on to track and field. But yeah, I was trying to be a football player under 16 from Espanyol too.
I think that's a lot of kids' dreams, isn't it, to become a football player? And I think it was mine too. But again, I wasn't even good enough for my local team. So being a Perico at school in Catalonia, in Barcelona, how is that experience?
That's really hard.
But...
It's really hard. It's difficult to explain because even in Spanish, I try to find examples, and it's difficult. You can imagine at this time we were like 30 or 32 kids in one class. So it was only 2 from different teams from outside from Barcelona. So it was one friend, Jose Carmona. He's coaching now in Playa del Carmen. He was from Real Madrid, and myself, I was from Espanyol. So it was maybe 2 or 3 kids, and there was a lot of FSC Barça propaganda during this time in the 90s. So everyone wants to be everyone wants to play like Ronald Koeman, like Barça, and it was hard to follow the heart. No, it was hard to follow the line and say, okay, I'm Espanyol. I don't care if we win or we lose. But it was tough because, and at this time was also more violence. It was more action in the stadiums and in the media and everything. So you can imagine every Monday it was hard to drive to the school, especially when we don't have a good result.
That was the time of the Dream Team, wasn't it?
Yes, correct. The 90s was the Champions League for Barça, and Espanyol was not in the best moment. We need to leave Sarrià and then move to Montjuïc. Yeah, it was hard this time, and we had also good memories in the UEFA and some Spanish Cup games. But again, it was always challenging every time you turn on the TV, and then the local news was always Barça. Then maybe track and field, and then maybe a little bit of Espanyol. It was challenging.
Yeah. So, who were your idols, Espanyol idols, as a kid growing up?
Wow. As a kid, my nickname was Urzaiz. He was a forward who was playing in the 90s in Espanyol. He was from north of Spain. Part of my family is from north of Spain, so and I was also a good player with my head. So they told me this. But I really like a lot of players. I will say, if I need to say my team, probably I will say Nkono as a goalkeeper, and then we had Kameni, and it was also nice to follow up all the path from Kameni. Defense, for sure, Dani Jarque and Mauricio Pochettino. For me, they were players that I grew up and I see a lot of things that I really like. This time, wing defenders. Well, that's challenging. Also, because my hair, probably in 2000, I was more similar to Zabaleta, and still some people tell me my nickname is Zabaleta, and then I think it was one of good ones, really good ones, wings that we have, and then if we move as midfield, we have a lot of players. I like De La Penya, like Galca, Solsona. I don't want to leave anyone, no, and Lardin. Like left wing, forward left wing. And then, of course, if we go to the top, Rafa Marañón, Raúl Tamudo. I like also Coro, Corominas, Coro, Stuani, Pandiani. Yeah, it's difficult to choose the best 11, no? But for sure, Tamudo was one of the most important thing. Also, one of the nicknames I was using when I was at the school was Chiqui Benitez. I think it was from Paraguay. He was super quick, forward, and they told me I was similar to him. Yeah, it was. Nice. I like Nkono how he was blocking the ball, so it's a little bit of everything. It's difficult to choose one.
I know it's hard, and I remember Benitez. I think he had a serious injury as well.
Yes, correct.
I was here in
I think it was ACL.
When I found out. Yeah. So when you say you played or you trialed for Espanyol, what position were you normally?
Left wing defender. So I was really fast, and I was using all the side, all the wing to move up and down. But I was defending there, and the problem for me was that my left foot was not good enough. My right was really good, and at this time when you were playing in the trials or under 16 Espanyol, you need to be really with everything. So I was fast. I was good with the high balls, but right foot was okay. Left one was shit, so it was not good enough.
No worries. So then you mentioned you tried athletics, and I'm assuming you were more focusing on the sprinting, or was it a long distance, or what?
Yeah, I start with 100 and 200 meters. Then I moved to 200 and 400, and then I moved to decathlon. So it was a little bit a path. I was always fast, so it was quite good, but not good enough to go to Olympic Games. So I tried to enjoy more track and field, and I really like when you need to learn all the events, no? And it was 2-3 hours training every day, but it was fun because you do 30 minutes of pole vault, 30 minutes of hurdles, 30 minutes of a long jump, and then it was fun, and I had a lot of good memories and a few medals too, so it was great.
Oh, cool. But then everything changed when you watched the movie Cool Runnings. Is that right?
Yes, correct. It was 2005. It was probably one of my hardest moments. One of my best friends died by cancer, and I wanted to do something different in my life. You know, sometimes we have these deep moments where you need to think if you are enjoying what you are doing, no? And at this point, I was watching Cool Running and say, okay, why Jamaica is going to Olympic Games in bobsleigh? Why I cannot do it in bobsleigh? No, the problem was that it was impossible to find any sponsor, and I was not supported by any federation. And then I decided to do something cheaper, and Skeleton, the small brother from bobsleigh, single head first in a sled of 32 kilos. It was easy to start and to try, and I fall in love, and that's how I started my relationship with the Skeleton.
With the Skeleton. And why not luge? What was it about Skeleton as opposed to luge?
Luge for me is a sport where you already lie on the sled and you don't need to work with your legs. You are already on the sled. So coming from track and field, I thought I had a lot of potential on the push on the start. and that was the main reason. And we go head first, and Luis is looking the roof, so I prefer to see if I crash or not. So
have some advance warning. Okay, cool. That sounds good. Now, obviously, a lot of people when they say they say the word skeleton, they obviously think of a skeleton. So why is the actual sport of skeleton called that way?
Sorry, why?
Why is the sport of skeleton called skeleton? What is it about?
Well, there are two options or two possibilities. They need to find out which one the best. One that they say that some people from Norway, they were using a skeleton, a sled created like a skeleton. Yeah, we can say like this. They move with this kind of wood sleds, and there is another one that I really believe, and it comes from 1892. There was an army guy from the British Army, Mr. Child. He was playing with the other army members, and they were sitting on the sled and enjoying in Switzerland the snow and going down the hills and sliding on a normal sled. And one day, Mr. Child decided to lie on the sled, put the head first, and he was running and sliding faster than the other ones. Say, okay, guys, you can sit, but I'm gonna be faster. Then as everyone start using the sled in the skeleton position, and that's how it started in 1892 in Switzerland.
Wow. So what equipment does a skeleton slider need to compete? So yeah,
the most important thing is the helmet. We need a helmet because our head is really close to the ice and we touch the ice quite a lot. Then we need to have special spikes, like track and field spikes, but a little bit different, so we can push the sled on ice without falling. And then we need a sled. A sled is really like a F1. It's really sensitive. It has a lot of screws, a lot of bar, spring steel, needs to be flexible to go together into the corner, because if it's too hard or too stiff, you will skid in the corners. And then a special race suit. It cannot be plastic, but it needs to be a special race suit to be okay with the wind friction and to win some time and to slide faster. And then last thing will be the gloves. And now we are using also some mouth guards, because at some point in some of the corners we have more than 5Gs, and that means that we suffer a lot of pressure, and it's important to protect our head and our mouth.
Okay, cool. Now, I've got a slide here of the helmets. If you can, let me know which one's your favorite. These are the helmets from each of the 4 Olympic Games. So do you have a preference for any one, or they all mean something?
No, they all have a history. The first one, 2010, is like a fireball. I was going into the games like a fireball, so we wanted to create like this kind of picture that sometimes we can see on the sky at night. No, it's this. The second one in Sochi in Russia was more like try to simulate the planets and the universe with these yellow and lines, and every line represents a friend of mine. I couldn't write the names; it's illegal at the game, so every line was one of my friends. And then Pyeongchang, it was more a kind of design into the culture of the Korean culture with these lines. And Beijing was like 80s, 90s flash move disco. It was like a kind of picture of going back of my beginnings, like it's like the main goal was use this helmet, feel that you are going back to be a kid, no? Go back to the 90s, to the disco, and enjoy. You are back into the 80s, 90s, and that was the reason.
Awesome. Oh, no, that looks good. All right. So we have touched on the equipment that the skeleton slider has. What about the different parts to a sliding track? What are the main?
Well, we have three main parts. First of all, is the start, where you need to accelerate. Every start is different. We have around 15 tracks in the wall. Every track is different, and every start is different. Then we have each corner. We can have so many different corners. We can have a 365 corner. We use the name is Chrysal. We have short, open. There are a lot of different corners, and then the finish area. It's really stiff finish area. They try to put some snow, but every time we go faster and faster, and they need to understand that sometimes we reach 145 kilometers per hour, no? So 145. So it's quite fast, and it's really important to have a good braking area.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long is the sliding track?
Shortest at the moment is Bludenz, Austria, around 35, 36 seconds. And then we can move to Moritz, where we slide around 140 kilometers per hour, and we are between 18, 19, so 69 seconds, more or less.
Cool. And I was going to say, what is a typical training day? So you're in Germany at the moment, and I suppose you're competing and stuff. But on a training day, what time do you start? What time do you finish? What happens in that day? How does it look like?
It's really crazy. Today we spent 5 hours at the track. We did 3 runs. So we need to warm up. Then we need to set up the sled with the right setup for each moment of the day or each track. Depends on the condition, if it's too hard, the ice, or too cold, or we have rain, or whatever. And then once the training is over, we normally go to the gym, or we have a recovery with the physio. We try to have lunch, of course, and dinner. In the afternoon, we have normally also a material setup. We try to check that the sled is everything, and we try to improve our sled with the feedback of the training. We also have in the afternoon, evening, 1 hour video session to recheck the lines and see if we can find something else where we can improve. And then, like now, just before going to bed, we try to have a little bit of time off, or just work on our social media, marketing, emails, and whatever. No, and that's hard when we are in the winter time. Summertime, it's a little bit easier because at the end you train physically 3 hours, but then you need to train also mentally, and we try always to improve different things. So it's, yeah, you are athlete during every day of the year. No, it's not like you can really rest. For example, we race on Friday, and Saturday we have 9 hours of driving from Germany to Switzerland, and then we start again training on Sunday and Monday. So it's a tough life.
It's a tough life, yeah. I was going to say. So I was going to ask you later, what do you do to chill? Like do you have days off where you can just chill and relax, or?
Normally, the moment of the week, for example, next week we train Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, Wednesday training, Thursday off, and then race on Friday. So Tuesday and Thursday, I try to have a team activity. We can say a kind of team building, or we try to do something. That's the moment we can catch up probably more with the paperwork and different things. My personal hobbies is I'm in Onda Cero in Madrid for Spain. I'm a radio commentator for Espanyol games. So that's one of my hobbies. I try to block this time, and I'm doing from any place in the world. And then I like different things. Sometimes watch a movie. It's a good moment to reset. I like to read and to play a little bit of poker if I have time, but you need a lot of hours. A lot of things. It's always something to do. It's I wish that they have 36, and of course when I'm not on tour, my main time is with my family, and then it's important to bring my kid to the school and pick him up, and spend time with my wife. So it's family for me is the most important thing, but once you are out of home, it's challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, going back to the start of your career, who was your first skeleton contact? How did you just get into the sport?
I checked the website from the IBSF, the Skeleton and Bobsleigh Federation, International Bobsleigh Skeleton Federation, and I found out they have like a skeleton course where we can try the sport. And I went to Innsbruck in 2005. I drove from Barcelona. It was 1,400 kilometers more or less. And I had my first experience. I rented a sled. I bought a helmet. I didn't have a race suit. So it was a little bit like a joke. Oh, you're coming from where? From Barcelona, Skeleton? What are you doing here? It was like a kind of cool running spot. It was a great experience the first week in Innsbruck. I survived and I fall in love with the sport, and that was the most important thing.
So you've described most of your uniform, but I think you've left out one of the most interesting talking points about the trainers that you.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it was a challenging situation. 1 month before I left Barcelona in direction to Innsbruck, I got the information that my shoes were not ready and they will not be able to send me the shoes on time. So I had two options: or I stay at home, or I try to find a solution. No, and we designed a skeleton shoes with a cheese grater and some sandpaper, and it was a big history because once they saw this in Innsbruck, they brought the newspaper to the track and said, "Okay, come on under, what is this?" And I was explaining what was happening, and they have a big newspaper in Innsbruck. I can't remember the name now. They had a big report, or a big report, and it was 2 pages, and the title was "Flamenco in the bobsleigh track." So it was really, really cool. And I was in front, and then I have Romania and other like emerging nations that they were like, "Okay, what are you doing, guys? You don't know even what's snow, no?" So it was.
Oh man, they're always looking for a story, aren't they? So that was the perfect.
But you have also good histories with the last Olympic Games with Jackie Narracott. She won a medal for Australia in a skeleton.
Yeah.
So it was unbelievable, and it's a superstar. And now in October, I was in Pyeongchang, and I think it was like 5 skeleton athletes from Australia. And here in Germany is one athlete who was also a rival, and we were fighting quite a lot in the past. And Australia have also good news about the skeleton.
Good news. But I don't think we've got a proper track there, have we?
No. That's impossible. They are all in the north hemisphere, and they are always in Europe. Most 3 in North America, 1 in Russia, and then in Asia there are only 2 tracks at the moment. So it's quite challenging. We have Japan, and we have Japan is closed at the moment, so we have South Korea and China.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned, I guess Innsbruck was your first. That was the first track that you ever. Is that the first track you ever competed in as well?
Yes, it was my first track for everything, and it's a special track. So I remember once when I had my ACL surgery, and the doctor came to me and said, "Okay, we're gonna sleep, gonna put the injection, and you're gonna sleep. Dream with something nice." So I closed my eyes, and I was sliding the track in Innsbruck. So it's a special track.
Yeah. So you mentioned that sponsors at the beginning, at least, were quite hard to find. Who was your first actual sponsor?
I contact 92 companies, and only one support me with some money, and the company was Buff, BUFF, and the ones who are making the necklace, the winter necklace. I don't know how is in English word.
I think neck warmer. Is it neck warmer?
Neck warmer, correct. Neck warmer. Yeah. And I met the owner, the old one. He died. He passed away long time ago, and I explained him that I need some support, and we were still talking, and he explained me how he started with Buff, and it was really, really similar. He created Buff because he was riding motorbikes, and all the wind and everything was coming to him, so he just cut a little bit of something that he have a curtain. I don't know if it was a curtain or it was something, and he put it like here, like a bandana, and then he was doing something easier, like a tubular. So it was like a kind of creative man, no? And when he heard my history about my shoes and my history, he said, "Okay, you did the same as me. Of course, we're gonna support you until the games, no?" So it was my first sponsor until 2010. Then he passed away, and another owner, they bought the company, and then they left the sports sponsorship, and then I moved to Munich, like the city in Germany, and they are like a shoe company. I don't know if you have the shoes in Australia, but
I haven't seen them.
I think they are not that there, but it was nice to have people that they support me. Of course, there was not so much money, but there was enough to buy a sled, so super happy with them.
How much is a sled normally? Is it
A sled is
expensive?
between 6,000, and now the high performance sleds is 8,000-9,000. So this time my sled was around 6,000 euros.
Wow. Okay. Cool. All right. I just wanted to move on because I see the Europe Cup, the America Cup, and then we've got the World Cup. So what are the differences between those competitions?
The main event is the World Cup, where all the best athletes, and then we have different circuits in different continents to develop the sport there. So we have North America's Cup. So most of the North America's Cup athletes, they are racing there. But if you are European or you are Asian or you are from Australia, you also can go there. No, so it's a circuit not as the same level as World Cup, a little bit lower, but official and IBSF circuit.
Cool. So let's go to qualifying for Vancouver. So how was the journey? How many races did you have to compete in to qualify?
Normally the best 8 races, and at this time I was doing some World Cups and some Intercontinental Cups. It's like North America's Cup, similar, another event from the circuit. And then you were winning points in each race if you finish in the top 30. And the best 30 athletes in the world ranking, more or less, were going to the Olympic Games. But for example, if there are already 2 Germans, then there are not more Germans that they can go. So you have a quota places for nation, and then the IBSF world ranking.
Okay, cool. So obviously it was a dream to compete in the Olympics. So to describe how did you feel? What was it like that moment that you knew that you qualified for Vancouver?
It was unbelievable. I got like 45 interviews in 2 weeks, and it was like unbelievable that I was going to the games. It's not possible. It's under you did it. It was the last race was unbelievable, and I find out next morning when because there was the last spot. It was between me and another athlete, but the other athlete was racing in North America, and I was racing in Europe. So I did my result, and I was waiting to see the result from the other athlete. No, and once they race, I just checked on internet, and yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then
must have been nail biting, just waiting for the other race to finish. Or were you racing at the same time? Or
no. I was I don't know. I was at the morning in, I don't know if it was a Moritz or I don't know which track was it at this time. It was in the morning, and then I think it was in Park City. So that means 8-9 hours less. So I went to bed without knowing what was happening, and next day I found out on internet that I was qualified. So it was a challenging night. I slept quite well because I did my job.
Really?
And at the end you cannot control what happens. It's of course I didn't wake up 9. I wake up at 7 trying to see what was going on. But
of course
I slept my 8 hours without problem.
Awesome. Okay. So how long was the wait between when you qualified and the actual start of the Olympic Games? Was it a few months or?
No, 2 weeks. It was short. Qualification.
That early? Wow.
Qualification system normally finish around 16th of January, and the Olympic starts beginning February. So it's like 2 weeks.
Okay.
There's not so much time.
Probably that's good. Otherwise, waiting for too long is going to be like, when's this going to happen?
I wish it was more time because
really?
I was out of home and I didn't have time to go home. I did so many interviews. I couldn't train as I wanted during this time, and yeah, I prefer more time to enjoy and to celebrate with my family. It was like everything so quick in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So how obviously the emotions of qualifying. How does that contrast with? Once the Olympics were over, how did you feel then? Because you've been in this dream, and now what?
Well, it was really hard. People, let's see how I can explain this. It's for me, it's one of the hardest moments. And when we talk that some athletes they have depression, is because once the dream is over, you fall into a big hole. It's dark and it's nothing. You are not anymore an athlete. Please understand me. You're still an athlete, but your goal was it's finished, and now what? No, I remember I crossed the finish line and I celebrate everything with my family. It was the flag that you have there. It was the Espanyol flag there. It was everyone was there. I went to the changing room. I changed myself, and then I pick up all my clothes. I walk with my family. I say goodbye to them, and then I jump into the bus direction to the Olympic Village. I think it was like 40 minutes drive, and I was crying all the time because the emotions of being at the Olympics, but also emotions of that everything was over, and say, and now what's next? You don't know this answer. You are not ready to finish one of the most moments of your life. No, it's like, wow, I fight like hell for 4 years, and now 4 runs, and that's all. And now, and that's really hard. The athlete is not ready for this, and no one teach you this. No one is ready to teach you this. You are so focused on achieving the goal, achieving the medal, achieving the result, that when everything is done, you just are alone. And that's for me one of the challenges. And the same when you retire, you need to be ready and you need to prepare your retirement, because if not, from one day to another one, your career is over. And now you need to start from zero in another life. It's completely another life.
Yeah. So after the Vancouver Olympics, when did you think about writing Rompiendo el Hielo, the Breaking the Ice book? Was that shortly after the Vancouver Olympics? I know it's published in 2014, before Sochi. How long did it take you to write, and why did you decide to write the book?
It was around 8 months. I wrote the book in 6 months. It was written by myself. Then one person needed to correct quite a lot of things, because I'm not the best writer in the world. So it was some mistakes here and there. But all the process, I think it was started in May, June. This picture is in the summertime. That's why a little bit more
yes, tanned.
less white. We can say like this. And then when I start traveling in October until February, March, I did all the book, and then they needed 2-3 months to finish. And the book was ready for San Jordi, 23 of April. So I think it was quite quick, but I spent quite a lot of hours, especially when I was traveling. I remember one of the flights from Europe to North America. It was like 9 hours flight, and I was 7 hours writing the book, and every day I was spending 1 hour. So it was quite a lot of work, but I had really clear in my mind what I wanted to achieve with this book. I wanted to explain the best moments of this path, and I wanted to prove myself that I can write a book, and maybe it will be not a bestseller, but it's a funny book, and I wanted to leave it written and here, because maybe one day my son will be able to read and say, oh, you did this, oh, you did this. It was more, it's not an autobiography, it's more how to achieve the Olympic dream and all the things that I did to achieve that. No, it's like an adventures book. It's really fun. I hope one day we can translate to English, but at the moment it's challenging, and it was not a big success. Also in the marketing area, I think there were some mistakes. They put the book with all the autobiographies, and I was to a couple of libraries, and it was Leo Messi, Pep Guardiola, under Mirambell. So the books were in front of mine. So it was impossible to promote the book. But anyway, it's there, and I hope one day you can read it.
Yeah, hopefully. It sounds like a motivational book and something to inspire others to achieve their dreams and things, from the reviews that I've read anyway. So it sounds like a really good book. So, yeah. All right, so we're going to Sochi 2014, and this is an interesting one, because you then have the experience of Vancouver. So did you do anything differently at Sochi with that experience from 2010?
Yes, we tried to hire a coach. It was impossible, so I was being coached by the British team, and I learned quite a lot. And then also from, I think it was a Swiss and Austria team, but we had some issues at at the end. And last year, my brother was my coach, 2014, and I achieved one of my dreams, that it was to bring my brother to Olympic Games. And that for me was amazing, to have my brother as a coach, and really, really amazing. And I tried to do the things better. The result at the games was not the best, but it was really hard to qualify it, and it was really, really tough to make it to the games. And we did some mistakes also, and in the calendar and all the things, that it was not working properly. Probably was expecting more resources to get better sled and to get a proper coach, and it was hard when I was sharing a coach. So it was challenging, because I learned quite a lot of being with the British team, but suddenly when you were competing with them, the atmosphere was quite hard, and
intense.
It was not easy, but it was a great experience, and make me be better, and I learned quite a lot, and it was like a learning process from each day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Wow. And then I guess 2 years later, I think you win your first World Cup, especially with a torn right anterior cruciate ligament. So how did you manage to do that against all these odds?
Yeah, it was a crazy season. It was September when I was running, and I tore my ACL. It was completely out. I spoke with my doctor and one of the best physios here in Spain, Fidel Sust. He was in football clubs. He's now in basketball with the Juventud. And my doctor, Dr. Pumes, and Dr. Till, and we decided not to have surgery. We decided to go with the ACL like this. Also, I spoke with Raúl, the player from Real Madrid. He was playing a few games without ACL, and he explained me that was possible. So I trust them, and I went to Calgary, and I won my first race there, North America's Cup in Calgary. And then it was like I was feeling like Superman. Without ACL, my head was handling everything, and I didn't think, if I had legs, I don't have legs. If I have ACL, I don't have ACL. I just push the sled and slide. And I know I was weak at the push, so I improved my sliding quite a lot, because it wasn't needed. So I think one of the best experience from this situation is that if you are not good with something, you need to be better with the other thing, and that was the plan, and we achieved. So it was unbelievable when I won the overall qualification, or the overall series, North America's Cup. And after the last race, I went directly to Barcelona for surgery. But the day before, I had the opportunity to go in front of the stadium in Cornellà Prat and offer the title from North America's Cup to all the supporters. It was unbelievable, amazing.
Okay, so it was North America's Cup or World Cup?
Yes, no, World Cup. It's too high for me. I
get these confused. All these.
Okay. North America's Cup. I won 2 times the overall ranking, and I have a few medals. So it was always one of my favorite circuits, and it was also plan of my my strategic plan to be strong in North America, because I always thought that if I'm good in North America, I will have always more chances to qualify for the games, because most of the athletes want to stay in Europe. So I should be more American than European in the way I was sliding. So it was a good decision to be strong there always.
Cool, excellent. And then we move on to Pyeongchang, to the 2018 Olympic Games, and I think you achieved your best placing in this games, but you also had some bad news before you started the start of the season. Your mum was diagnosed with cancer. So how did you manage to have to change this into motivation?
It was really hard. It was August when my mom called me that she was not feeling good. I drove to the hospital. She was waiting there, and she had X-ray, and they found out one tumor in the lungs and one small tumor in the head. We started with all the process, with all the chemio, and already the doctor told us that probably she will need to be into a special treatment, and they didn't know how fast we'll move this and how big will be the chances to health or to recover from the cancer. So I did a deal with my mom. I decided to start the season with the condition that I will qualify for the games, and that was a lot of pressure, because it was, I cannot certify that I will be able at the games, and I didn't want to fail, and I didn't want to disappoint my mom at this time. And we had a really nice chat in December, and she told me that I don't need to qualify to the games. She will love me with games or without games, no. And but she told me, but under one thing, if you qualify to the games, I will come. And I made it to the games. It was the last race. It was unbelievable in St. Moritz. It was between me and another athlete. I made it, and my mom booked a flight to Korea, and she was there. It was quite hard. It was -20, and she was sick, so it was quite challenging to move up and down here. And my last run, I drove down crying, because I knew it was the last trip for my mom. And after that, I went up to the start again. She was waiting there in a special room, and she gave me a hug. We were 2 minutes crying, and it was the best way to say goodbye to her life at this point, because she was there with me. She was sharing with me the dream, and also with my family, my brothers, my sister, my father, was everyone there. So it was an amazing moment, and it was a present for her. And 2 months later, she passed away. So I learned quite a lot about cancer and the situation. We have a lot of angels at the hospital who take care of all these people. Also, I'm really disappointed about how society try to hide what means cancer and what means all this in our society. But my mom gave me the opportunity to go through all this process with her, and learn about what means cancer, about what means death, and how we need to die in this world. No, and I learned that it's not important when, it's how you die, and what are you taking with you. And my mom teach me quite a lot of things, so I just can be grateful to see this process with her, and to solve this process with her. But personal was not easy, and it was quite a hard year with really good news and also really bad news.
Yeah. So 2 years later, you win the second North America's Cup.
Yes.
And being the first European to do so.
Yes. There was only one guy from North America. I think it was Jack Land, has 2 titles, and myself. So no one had 3 titles, and I think it's quite impressive at the moment to keep this record. And yeah, it's at this time they had 4 tracks. It was Calgary, Whistler, Park City, and Lake Placid, and I was living in Barcelona, so it was unbelievable that someone from there was able to do that.
Yeah. So would you say that period from 2016 through to 2020 was your most successful in terms of best finish in the Olympics, and obviously those 2 North American Cups?
Yes, and the results, and also there were some nice results in World Cup. I think it was an 11 or 13 in Lake Placid. So it was an amazing moment. And we had a really good coach at this time. We had a small team with 3 athletes. So everything was fitting quite well.
That's good. Cool. So I move on to Beijing. Beijing was, I think, from the on the surface anyway, a different type of Olympic Games, because we'd had the pandemic in 2020, and there was still, and I do remember actually watching those games, and it seemed that well, first of all, you were the flag bearer, so how about that?
Unbelievable.
So that's like, how was that? I mean, how did you find
impressive.
out?
It's difficult to describe, because you can win all the races, but that doesn't mean you're going to be the flag bearer. So it's an honor that they give you this responsibility. So it was unbelievable, no? And moving inside the stadium with the flag from your nation, it's unbelievable. It's difficult to describe. It's a big honor, and one of my best moments for sure in my life.
Yeah. And I think you shared that with someone else. With this
with Keral Castellet, snowboarder. She won also a medal. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So the first post-COVID Olympic Games. So how was it like? Were there a lot of restrictions, a lot of PCR tests, and were you able to not move as freely as in previous
No,
games.
it was really hard. We were most of the time locked down, and it was uh, it was a volunteer checking the doors that we don't go to another room. Every time that before going to breakfast, we need to do a test. It was unbelievable. If you have a small symptom, you were completely moving to a restriction area. It was really, really, really hard. From one side, it was challenging because we feel alone and we couldn't feel the warmth of the people, and that's really important at the Olympic Games. And I think we missed a big opportunity to show how China is. But anyway, we went there, we did our best, and we came back. And for me, it was amazing experience with the flag barrier, and also with no experience at the track. I think I survived quite well at the competition because all the athletes had 2 weeks of sliding in October, and I was not able to do that because we didn't have resources, we didn't have budget, and I was sliding in another place. So we sacrificed everything to make it to the games, and then once in the games, it was about surviving. My coach was not able to come. He had COVID the day before we left Spain. And the other situation was that during this season I was without coach because I couldn't pay a coach. So it was between having a physio or a coach. So I coached myself and I qualified for the games in the last race with the speed record in Moritz. So yeah, it was amazing, and yeah, it was really, really, really a good way to finish my career in Europe, but especially a good way to finish my career at the Olympic Games.
What was the speed record at Moritz?
It was 139.9999. So I don't know why they didn't put 140. I think because I was from Espanyol or I was from Barcelona. But come on, guys, 139.99.
Come on, just round it up.
Yeah. Well, they beat the record last season, so not anymore. Now I think they are 141 or 140 point something, I think it is. But yeah, this time it was unbelievable.
But these are the fine margins, aren't they? Because you get your hundredths or thousandths of a second.
That's a reality.
And I remember watching a video by Martin Ducos, who they were talking about the runners and polishing the runners and getting rid of all the scratches and even those, just the polishing of the runners is even if it gives you 0.001, it can count. So
yes,
this is
100 can kick you out from the games, 100%, or can give you a medal.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of everything. So it's we need to work in every detail. We were developing with Munich, the shoe company, different shoes. I was always trying to work with a Spanish company to have a special race suit. We try to do always good things. And now our race suit is from Australia. So I have a company who's doing our race suit. Yeah.
Awesome. Send a picture. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I can. Let me see if I find the name. I think it's Babici is the name. It's a company who's doing the race suits also for cycling in Australia for the indoor cycling, and he's one of the best in the world. And he's doing also for skeleton and bobsleigh. And this year is the first time we signed an agreement. And the full team, also bobsleigh, is using them. So now we can say Spain is using a part of Australia.
That's it. All right. So I'm just going to ask you a few last skeleton questions anyway. So I was watching another video from Vancouver, and they mentioned the sliding meatball. So you got to tell me what's that all about?
That was when I was with the British team. They were so serious that every time that I had the opportunity, I was doing some jokes, and spicy jokes sometimes. And one of the girls told me, "Okay, Ander, it's not possible. You are like what? Yeah, like a spicy meatball, because you look so serious, and suddenly you are so funny and spicy." I say, "Okay, come to my Spain. You will see we are more, I don't know, more salsa, more funny, no?" They were always serious, and I say, "Come on." No, I had really good time with the British team also, and it was always. I know one of the guys were putting stones into the back. So one day I was, that's too heavy. I went to the changing room and I have like 4 stones like this, like 4 kilos. I come on. So there were always the jokes about
practical jokes. That's
We
it.
try
Well,
to
that's what
enjoy
happens
life.
when you hang out with English people. You know, they've got that English sense of humor, and
Yeah, but they don't
contribute.
understand. They say, okay, what do you mean this? And the line is so thin. I cannot explain now because maybe they will shut out your program. But the line sometimes is so thin that it's like, okay, if you cross, maybe you are in troubles, no? And okay, and are you flirting with me or what? What do you want? No, it's only a joke, no? So it was always like this.
Oh dear. Now, I actually wondered, you know, with the helmet, does it ever steam up during competition?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
does
it can happen. The
Oh
old ones
man.
for sure. Now not anymore, but the old ones, a few times I was blind. I was going down like, okay, what's going on now? Okay, keep your boy in the sled and pray, nothing else.
And you can't open it and just
No,
wipe it.
no.
Yeah,
You are like this and say, okay,
that's it.
three more corners, pray. Okay, I think I'm in the finish.
And this is when you have to hopefully memorize the track.
No,
Know
you
the
need
track
to know
walk and stuff.
everything like perfect, each corner. And when I work with the mental coach and with my psychologist, we also memorize the smell from the corners. For example, you have the
Wow.
bar, so I know I'm arriving to the finish corner because I can feel the smell. So we work with all
That's
the
amazing.
details when we do a visualization. Yes, it's really important.
Wow, I never realized it was down to that level of detail, because I remember you did say you went.
Yes, because when you are in the summertime and you work in the mental thing, I wrote during the season everything. And then in the summertime, corner one, there is a bump here. Corner two, I feel the smell, so relax. So I try to put all the inputs inside this memory book, because once you close your eyes and try to make the visualization is to be as real as possible. And real means to feel the cold, to feel the speed, to feel the wind, to smell what's going on there, no? And I think it's important, and that's something that I'm missing in football: visualization. People they don't spend time in the mental work.
Yes, that could be a lesson. Maybe they could teach other people now, especially in different sports. Yeah, absolutely. Now, this might seem like a joke, but probably happened. It has happened before. Have you ever pushed the sled, but never managed to get onto it? So the sled goes off, and you went,
Well, I crash, and once you crash, the sled goes away, and you are just flying around the track. This when you push, no, but I did a 360. I just was pushing, and I fall down, and I did a 360, and then I come back. But losing the sled at the start area, I never had this problem. But I lose the sled sometimes when I crash in some of the corners. That's for sure.
You're right. Okay. Now I've noticed one hand push and two hand push. Is there any difference? Is that preference, or is that inexperience? So what
No,
is
it's
that?
inexperience. Once you start, normally you start with two hands to feel safety, but then whenever you had a chance, you move to one hand to feel free and to have this arm to push easier.
Okay. What's your favorite track?
Wow. Probably I will say Moritz.
Moritz?
Yes.
And most challenging track?
Wow. I need to say one, or I can say
I have one in mind, and that's only because of what Kim Meelemans said in a video. I think she's referring to one in Estonia.
Sigulda, Whistler, Altenberg. I will say one of these three tracks.
One of those three. Okay, cool. Which is the most formidable skeleton rider you have competed against?
Woof. Well, it's amazing to see Martin Zukurs. It's a legend, one of the best. But I also have great experience with all these, we say, small nations, emerging nations like Nathan Crompton from America Samoa, Patrick Shannon, Joska Leconte from Netherlands. So I'm not a person who really has someone who say it's an idol, or it's someone who say it's a legend. Probably Martin Zucker is one of the best, but he had also the best material, no? And that's a little bit like Formula One. It's always the best who is winning, or it's because he has the best car. And we also have this Espanyol philosophy that if you finish 10 and you did your best because you have this kind of players, you cannot be frustrated. You cannot be upset. You did your best. And this is also my history. I'm proud of my results. Of course, I wish better results, but I never had the resources and the tools from other nations. So what will happen if I had them? No, but that's something that I cannot answer, and I should be happy with results and my career. So yeah.
And hopefully that's something you can pass on to the next generation, because that was my next question. You're training new riders after putting out there an advertisement for interest, expression of interest for skeleton riders, and how's that process going?
I think it's really good. We just released a movie, a skeleton serious kids, where they spoke and they explained the history of them, and I think it's really amazing, and really looking forward that we can show around the world. It's a lot of skeleton athletes on the movie, but especially the Spanish team. Yeah. And I'm trying to explain them and to show the path to the Olympic Games. And the key points is passion, work on the details, work as much as you can, and there are a lot of small things that they are really important. And when I see them, I'm really, really proud of them. And it's not easy because they also have their own lives. But when we started, we had 45 athletes who wanted to be skeleton athletes. And at the end, in this movie, we choose the best 9. And now we have 3 here in World Cup, Clara, Anna, and Adrian. And we have another 3 in the development circuits in Europa Cup. No? And also this year, we start with bobsleigh. So I think it's quite a lot of work. But I'm really, really proud of them.
Yeah. And so this documentary has been estrenado or premiered in Manresa and in Madrid. So when do you think people can actually watch it further afield or on the internet?
I think in the next month, maximum 1 year, they just sign a contract with a distribution company. And I know they have some negotiation with some platforms at the moment. So let's see how it goes. But the main goal, and this is recorded by Martial TV, AV, and Fed Yellow, the federation. The main goal is to show the movie. It's something that we want to do and needs to be done before the next Olympic Games. So I think in this 2025 should be the moment that people can enjoy this movie and fall in love with the different characters and see that the families are a really important part of our lives. And I think that's also important, that behind every athlete is a family, and this family, it's a key point for the success of the athlete.
Absolutely. I mean, you have experience from that as well. And so in Milan 2026, will we have skeleton riders or sliders? Or obviously, it's
I hope so. That's the main goal, and that's why we are working hard. And probably will be 1 man and 1 woman, and hope also in bobsleigh. That will be amazing if we can achieve these results. But first of all, we have an important event in March in Lake Placid in USA. And if we can qualify all of the World Cup athletes and Liana with bobsleigh, will be amazing. That will be big history in our sport. No, 2 women, 1 man, and one monobob. That will be unbelievable for Spain with the resources that we have. So let's see. We are close, and we have 2 important races, and let's see how it finishes.
We'll be watching closely, that's for sure. Cool. All right. So I just wanted to finish off on some La Liga and Espanyol questions. And, I really appreciate your time, and I know it's getting late in Germany, but thank you so much. La Liga for Sports, you were ambassador for 6-7 years. What things did you do for La Liga?
Well, I was not ambassador. I was working for them, and I was the creator of La Liga for Sports. It was a special program where La Liga was supporting all the sports around Spain, and we were creating different programs to bring the sports or the federations out of Spain. For example, I was in Adelaide with Taekwondo. We have a special event, and with Villarreal, we have Villarreal have a friendly match, and inside of the agreement of the friendly match, we agreed to bring 1 national team from all the sports. And then we brought, for example, Taekwondo. We brought water polo to Shanghai. We had field hockey in USA in San Francisco. So we always had different things, no? And to me, the main idea of La Liga for Sports was what else can do La Liga for the Spanish sports, and it was to support them with money, but also with different events. So my first experience was in Adelaide, and we were also in a newspaper in I think Adelaide. I don't know the name of the newspaper, but they were also at the game with Adelaide United, and now you have Javi Lopez there.
Of course.
And
Yes.
and I had a great experience with the president at this time from the Adelaide United. We were invited to his house, and we had a barbecue, and we had a special
Typical
fight
Australian.
event. It was. I tried the kangaroo meat also at this point. It was a great experience.
Yeah. Look, Javi Lopez has been brilliant. Every time he comes to Sydney, we pretty much there's a few of us actually. You might find this unbelievable, but there's 3 Perico families that live in the same suburb as myself and 2 others, and they're both from Catalonia, and we go to watch Javi Lopez, and then he comes after the game and we chat, and we have a great time with him and stuff. So he's been really good. I don't want him to leave Australia, by the way.
I spoke with him a few weeks ago, and what he's doing is amazing. It was not easy to move to Australia and to bring the family, and that's also something that we spoke with my wife at some point. Australia can be a place where we can teach English and teach a new culture to our son. And for me, in Adelaide, it was a great experience, and it was, of course, it's challenging because you are far away from Spain.
Of course.
But I think it's one of the countries that I will give the opportunity to have a work experience. And now you have the Olympic Games in a few years. I think the sport is going to grow up quite a lot. And I don't know, maybe we knock the door to be there and live the experience in Australia.
Yeah. So when you say Olympic Games, is that the summer or the winter?
Summer.
Brisbane. Yeah,
Brisbane.
Yeah.
I think it's Los Angeles and then Brisbane, no? Los
Brisbane,
Angeles and Brisbane.
Yeah, 2028. Yeah, that's right. Awesome. I've seen you wearing Espanyol Skeleton suits. So did the club sponsor you at any time during qualifying for the Olympic Games?
We have an agreement. It was not like a sponsor. I was ambassador from the club. So we create the Skeleton Espanyol team. And then I designed the race suit, and they were allowing me to use the Espanyol colors. And in the meantime, I was doing as ambassador for different social events, different events around the world. So it was a really, really cool agreement. And suddenly, with I still don't know, maybe some personal reasons from someone, in 2021, the Olympic season, they decided to stop this. So it was hard because I wanted to bring the Espanyol flag into the games. But I brought it in my heart, and sometimes there are some decisions that you don't understand, and this happens. So.
Yeah. And you often see quite a lot of Espanyol supporters come to these different races as well. So there must be really, really warm feeling.
Yeah, we share quite a lot. I think Espanyol has a special thing. It's like a family. It's like I don't know how to define it. It's more than a family because it's not about football. It's about the feeling. It's about the atmosphere. It's about how you enjoy the process of being Espanyol, of being a Perico, no? And once you know that there is a Espanyol guy in Calgary, you text him, you talk to him, you go for dinner. And if I come to Sydney, the first thing I will do is to call you, Nick, and say, hey, Nick, I'm here. And it's a football club. No, it's more than a football club. And that's for me one of the big difference with Barca and with other teams. It's easy to be from a team that every weekend is winning or they have the support from the government. But it's really challenging to be a team that has everything against. And that's, for me, it creates the atmosphere of being Espanyol supporter and makes our links harder and stronger.
Yeah, that's right. Swimming against the current. As they say, only dead fish float downstream.
Yeah, I like that.
Solo los peces muertos.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so what do other skeleton athletes say get about Espanyol when they meet you? Do they ask you questions about the football?
Yeah. There are some Barca supporters, so we always have our hard conversations after the games. I remember one of the juries was informing me about the Espanyol Copa del Rey games when I was warming up, because I didn't have my phone at this time, and a few years ago the Wi-Fi was only in the changing room, so I was outside warming up, and the jury was coming to me under 1-1, 2-1, so it was cool. So it was, and the commentator also was asking me before the race, what was the result from Espanyol? And he was also, under is sliding now, corner 2. By the way, Espanyol won against Barcelona, and now is corner 6, 7. So it was more than a promotion. It was like first question is not good morning, under how is Espanyol?
That's funny. That's good. You get other people to look at the results for you. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, even in Bermuda Island, I have a friend who knows all the songs, because he was listening for 2 seasons every time in the shower, Espanyol, Espanyol, and now every time he called me, Espanyol, Espanyol, not hi Ander, Happy New Year, or how are you? No, he's singing already. So it's unbelievable, and that's what Espanyol is for me.
It is, yeah, that's right. Now you have a Penya, a supporters group with your name. So did someone else create that, and they said to Ander, look, would you be happy to have a supporters group? So how did that happen? Tell me, how did that come about?
It was crazy. Unfortunately, not anymore. The Peñas are suffering quite a lot at this moment in Espanyol, and they are not receiving the support that they deserve, and they stopped. It was a lot of challenges at this time, but the years that it was running, it was unbelievable. A couple of parents who were sitting near me, they came to me and said, Ander, you represent the values of Espanyol, you represent the values of sport. Is it okay if we open a Penya? He said, of course. And I was really, really shocked, and I thought it was a joke. No, it was true. They create, and then we did a couple of projects for different schools, and I was trying to support them. But again, it was quite challenging to survive at this time, and it was a lot of time, and people have life, have kids. You need to make the life easier to the people to move on. The moment was difficult, and also it was my fault that I was not for 6 months at the year I'm traveling. I was not always there, and it was challenging. But during the years I was running was unbelievable, and we did a couple of nice projects, and it's like a dream. It was in the newspaper. It was everything. I'm not even a football player, and I have my own Penya. It's
I know.
crazy.
I know. It's normally ex-football players who. Yeah, that's true. I was going to make a joke and saying, look, to become a member of the Ander Mirambell supporters club, you must go to Innsbruck and try.
It can be. They were planning to have a trip to Innsbruck.
Really, they were.
Yeah, but it was too expensive, and we were doing some numbers. Yeah,
there you go. So, last question for tonight, for this morning, depends where you are. Espanyol's not going through a great moment, especially in the last 5 years, but in this season, 24-25, we're in the relegation places. How do you think Espanyol will do for the second half of the season? And we'll survive.
What I would like, or what I think? What's the question?
Well, I don't know. I know what you like. What do you think? Putting you on the spot there.
That's a long question. I try to be short. I think the structure from the club is wrong. I think there is a problem of the philosophy that's running on, and this affects to the sport side. And we have a structure from the 90s, and every time you go as a player or as a coach there, you are suffering huge challenges, and this affects to the field. And finally, after so many years moving in the middle of the table in La Liga, we are suffering to move up and down from second to first to second, because we don't have the right structure of the team, of the club. And the situation at the moment, it's really, really hard. The good news is that I think there are 3 teams that they have the same situation in the sports side, that they can move to the second division, and we need to be the 4th or the best from these 4 teams. Solutions, there are a lot of solutions. First of all, the president needs to decide what he wants. What does he want to do with the club? Does he want the club who goes to Europe competitions? He needs to change the structure and invest in the right way. It needs to be more efficient. If he wants to sell, he needs to decide to sell the club as soon as possible. And if he wants to go like is it going now, the situation is going to be really, really dangerous and difficult for the future. We have a team. I think we have 11, 12 players. They can be really a team. Sometimes they can be competitive, but I'm really afraid that the strength part, it can be challenging. At the moment, we know that we can play 60 good minutes, 65 good minutes in some of the games. But once we move to the end of the season, I really believe if this is not changing, we will get troubles to survive in the second part of the games. So yeah, again, it's going to be a challenge season, and I really believe that we are going to be the best from these 4 teams, and we're going to survive. Yeah. But more than the sports side, we need to know what the president and what Mao and Tony Alegre what they want from this club, and they need to explain to the supporters, because also we are losing supporters because there is not communication with them. They don't explain what's the project, and that's for me one of the mistakes from this situation at the moment. If you explain we want to go this and we did this mistake and this mistake, people can understand and they will support you. But if you don't communicate and you don't talk, you are going into a dark area where the people say, okay, what I'm doing here, that's not my club, that's not what I really believe. And Espanyol has one really, really important thing, and that's what we were talking during this interview, is the family, it's the community, and they need to take care of them, especially when the things goes wrong. And at the moment, when I see some Peñas suffering, when I see small issues, that they say, come on, guys, take care of the members, take care of the people who goes at the stadium. They are the ones who are going to survive and bring the team the next 100 years. We're going to be 125 years this season.
Yeah.
We deserve more.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well,
I try to be short. Sorry, Nick.
I know, that's the I really want to thank you for making time for the interview today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I just wanted to give you opportunities. Anything else you'd like to say before we?
No, I'm really looking forward to meet you at some point. I don't know if in Australia or in Spain, in Barcelona. And I really want to thank you because, as I told one day to Javier de Aro and also to Francesc Villa, it's not about having a big or small media. It's about the passion of the people who support Espanyol. And with you doing this program, with myself doing other activities around the world, we try to make our team better. And I just can thank you, Nick, for doing that, because you are spending part of your time to prepare this interview, to prepare this program, and to share this, and that's amazing for Espanyol, especially at this time. So thank you.
Thank you. You're most welcome. So I always forget to mention this at the beginning. So I always say to people, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and like and comment. I always love reading the comments. So if you have any comments, feel free to put them down in the description. And thank you for being here, Andrea. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.